Speedway Anywhere
on Blog Talk Radio
/Speedway Anywhere with your crew chief, Q.
Hey everybody, before we get started, I wanted to thank everyone for your support through the relaunch. So far it's been a decent response, and I was expecting a little more struggles as we rebuild the show, so thank you. And if you are new and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. I got to regrow the channel. I lost a lot of my following since, taking a year off. Before we get to the antitrust lawsuit, I wanted to point out a few things from last weekend, because what happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas when it comes to the NASCAR Championship. And along with Vegas, luck matters. And Joey Logano's had it on his side. I mean, come on. Before Vegas, he lucked his way into the championship round of 8. And, because of the disqualification with Alex Bowman. So, but beyond that, he lucked out last weekend. Got the field strategy thing done. A little help from his teammate, Ryan Blaney, giving him a little shove, That's all within the rules. Even the biggest names have done that in the past, Dale Earnhardt Sr. being one of them. So before we be quick to judge Joey Logano for the little bit of help he got to save some gas, consider that. But as far as the developments in the antitrust lawsuit, so there's been a lot developing so far between 2311 and Front Row Motorsports against NASCAR. If 2311 and Front Row Motorsports get the injunction, then it will be business as usual as far as going into the next year as the major case, the antitrust lawsuit, sorts out. But what if not? What if NASCAR slims down the number of entries for next year as far as charter teams go to 32? That would be if 2311 and Front Row don't get the injunction. Now, also involved in this is the fact that there are 2 charters that 2311 for one of them and Front Row for the other that NASCAR has yet to approve the sale. Now, if the sale goes through, what is NASCAR going to slim the field down to 30? Because there would be 6 charters as far as the 2 teams that are the plaintiffs in the antitrust lawsuit. Now, this could get really goofy because now NASCAR allows up to 40 cars in the field for each cup race. Now, if it slims down to 30, that would mean 10 available spots. I just held up 5 fingers. That was super. Let's go like that. 5 and 5, 10. So would this cause more non-chartered teams to come out and try to make the race with that many spots available? And that's, like I said, without the injunction. It's been a long time since we've seen go-home cars, the ones that don't qualify. Say that 41 cars, like at Daytona this year, show up. And one of those teams had to go home. It's been a long time since there's been a go-home team. So, in the case of that, now when it was 36 charters, there weren't too many teams that would come out and take the chance of not making the field. There's only been 5 races this year where there's been 40 cars in the field. Of course, both Daytonas, one at Talladega, and then COTA and the Coca-Cola 600. So 5 races have had full fields of 40. Consider the fact that 3 of those were super speedway races. Those always attract a ton of interest. And then, of course, COTA, Circuit of the Americas, road course race. And then also Coca-Cola 600 being the longest race of the year. So there's been 9 races where only 36 cars have shown up. And 36 being, the number of charter teams. So nobody took a shot at filling out one of those extra 4 spots. So that kind of surprises me that it's been 9, because 9 sounds like a lot to only have 36 cars. 9 of the regular 36 season races. And of course, all the open spots that you get to try and qualify into the All-Star race. And also the duels at Daytona. Everybody gets a starting spot for those if they show up. They just can't guarantee to advance into the 500. I'm trying to stay on topic here with the antitrust lawsuit, but still, when you put the two together as far as having more available entrance spots, which, by the way, 2311 said with or without the injunction, they're going to go to every race next year. I'm not sure if Front Row has said that or not. But, so you'd have Front Row and 2311 to compete with to qualify for the races too, for a spot. But I would love nothing more than to see full fields again. I mean, for Christ's sake. And try to stay on topic again, but there was a time when NASCAR allowed 43 cars in both the Xfinity and Cup Series races. And all the tracks had to improve their pit rows to 43 spots. I mean, prior to that, some cars were sharing spots. So the tracks put up all that money to create those spots on pit road, and lo and behold, NASCAR changed the number of entries to 40. But that's off topic for the lawsuit that we're speaking of. This is all also considering that whether or not NASCAR approves the charter sales or not for 2311 in Front Row, by the way. And that would be really odd if NASCAR approved those sales and then turned around and didn't recognize those charters, because those are the 2 teams that didn't sign the charter agreement for next year. So what that would mean is, at this point, too, there's been no drivers announced for those 2 other teams, and that could be because they're waiting to see whether or not the charters are approved. So, and if the charters are not approved, what teams are they going to go to? These are the only 2 charters that are possibly available still on the board going into next year. And a lot of these were caused, of course, when Stewart-Haas shut down and 4 charters became available. And also, speaking of Stewart-Haas shutting down, this put Noah Gragson in limbo again. And if you remember, Noah Gragson has been bounced around a bit. He was over at Petty Legacy Motor Club, call it what you will. And he thought that he was going to get his stability going when he got to Stewart-Haas, and that didn't turn out to be the case. This brings to mind Ross Chastain. Remember how he got bounced around so much, and even one year ended up changing his status from points contender in the Xfinity Series. Come June, I think it was, he changed his status to points contender in the Truck Series. So he got bounced around a long time before he landed that number one ride at, it was the number 42 at the time at Ganassi, and then Ganassi decided to sell it to Trackhouse, and he's had stability ever since then in the number one car. So, but yeah, the Noah Gragson situation does bring that to mind when it comes to what Ross Chastain went through before he ended up with his feet solid on the ground. And one more thing along the line of, NASCAR reducing the number of entrants. The money would be reappropriated to 32 teams next year instead of 36, because chartered teams do get larger payouts of everything: the track money, the TV money, the overall title sponsor purse money, things like that. So if the injunction is in place, is NASCAR going to recognize them as a chartered team when it comes to payouts? Nobody's touched on that subject yet, so I have no details to what that's going to mean. And the rule book is going through a lot of changes right now for the 2025 season, so I wouldn't be surprised if NASCAR decides to pull a fast one and change the payout structure regardless of the injunction. So anyways, the injunction hearing is set for November 4th. That is less than 1 week before the finale at Phoenix. The hearing was originally scheduled for October 16th, but due to Hurricane Milton, the offices had to be closed down, court offices obviously, and this is going on in the Daytona area, the headquarters of NASCAR. So, some would say Charlotte, North Carolina, but officially, for some reason, it's being heard in the Daytona, Florida area. So, there's a lot to unpack here, and this is all we got to go on for the time being. It's going to be a long winter, watching details develop and other things unfold. But for now, we can just wait on that injunction hearing and then see how NASCAR or 2311 and Front Row Motorsports play their cards. So hurry up and wait, I guess. So anyways, folks, thanks for listening, checking it out. I've been holding this episode back for a little bit because I thought there'd be more details, but there's not. So thanks for supporting the channel. Once again, if you like what you're seeing, if you want to be a part of it all as the channel continues to regrow, I'd love it if you subscribe. Maybe click that like button. Leave me a comment on what your take on this whole injunction and antitrust lawsuit is. So I'm going to leave it there. And so we'll be back next week after Homestead. Till then.
Speedway Anywhere.
On Blog Talk Radio.
Your source for stock car, Indy car, or any car.
No matter how many wheels.